Empowering others to excel with your host, Jacqueline Job. Empowering others to excel with your host, Jacqueline Job. Are you ready to be transformed? I'm here to uplift, encourage, motivate, and inspire. Empowering others to excel with your host, Jacqueline Job. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. Thank you for tuning in to Empowering Others to Excel. I am your host, Jacqueline Jobs. Thank you for those who are tuning in via WMEG Radio, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I am here to be your empowerment strategist to help you to get through your week, to motivate and encourage, uplift you on today. So thank you once again for tuning in. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone who is tuned in on today. I hope you all are having a great day thus far. Now, last week we talked about, but before we talk about that, if you have not gone to the YouTube page and subscribed, go to the YouTube page and subscribe. You will be able to go back and replay all of the sessions that we have had prior. These sessions are helpful to those who are trying to develop personal growth within their life. So if you have not, go to YouTube, find Empowering Others to Excel, and subscribe. You will get notifications when we are live, and you'll be able to go back and listen to the sessions. They are very helpful. Okay, so now, today's topic is setting your gauge to obtain success. Setting your gauge to obtain success. Last week, we talked about standing your ground, do not be shaken. And when we were discussing standing your ground and not being shaken, we was talking about you had to have those foundational values. If you have those basic foundations, then you will not be shaken when tests and trials come your way. And then you're probably like, what are those foundations you're talking about? Some of the foundations are self-awareness, knowing who you are, knowing your identity. Another one is setting boundaries. What boundaries have you set? What boundaries have you kept? Knowing your values, your beliefs, your morals. Those are some of the foundations that you need in order to help you to stand strong. Now, if you're like, well, I want the rest of it, guess what? Go on YouTube, find it under Empowering Others to Excel. Look for the live stream playlist. It is under Life Coaching Moments That Transform. Life Coaching Moments That Transform. That is the playlist, and you can find it there. Once again, it was standing your ground. Do not be shaken. Okay, so now we're going to jump into today's topic. Set your gauge to obtain success. Set your gauge to obtain success. Now, success does not happen by accident. We got to work for it. We got to work for those things that we want. So we all should know we're not just going to blink our eyes, click our heels 3 times, and we're going to gain that success that we want. We have to put in the work. We have to work for it. Now, in order to gain that success, we have to be following some kind of guidelines, some kind of track system. You have to know what it is that you're going to accept, what it is that you're not going to accept. And then you have to consistently respond to those things that come your way, either good or bad. You have to consistently respond. If your gauge is off, you're going to miss something. You're going to respond inappropriately, and you're going to be lost. You're not going to know which direction to go. So today we're talking about setting your gauge to obtain success. Okay, so now let's dive into the first. What is your gauge? What is your gauge? Just now, when you think about the gas tank in your car, for those who have a car, you look at the gas tank. It tells you if it's empty It tells you if it's full. It tells you if it's at the halfway mark, if it's 1/8, 1/4, whatever it is. That gas gauge tells you those things. That's the same thing with the gauge that is within you. It lets you know, hey, you're empty, you're running low. Hey, you're overwhelmed. Hey, you're overheating. That gauge tells you those things. You're heading in the wrong direction. That gauge tells you those things. Life is the same as the gauge in your car. It identifies those things. It gives you a warning because your gas gauge is warning you before your car cuts off. You're trying to figure out, why did my car just cut off? Because it was empty. That's the same thing with life. We have our own gauge, and it tells us when we're full, when we're half full, when we're running low, and when we're empty. Now, we have to start paying attention to our gauge. A lot of times we be running on fumes, and we like, oh, it's all right. It's all right. I'm going to make it. I'm going to get through. But when them fumes are done, guess what? You are over. You're exhausted. You're overwhelmed. You are over. Same thing in the car. Them gas fumes gone, the car is shutting off. That's the same thing with our body and our life. So we have to pay attention to our gauge. Where is our gauge? What is the reading on the gauge? So right now, for those who are listening, those who are tuning in, I want you to ask yourself, where do I register on my gauge? Am I full? Am I half full? Am I running low? Am I on empty? What is your gauge? I want you to tell me in the chat. For those who are following on social media, tell me in the chat, where are you right now? Where are you registering on your gauge? Because remember, when we're trying to head for success, we don't drift towards success. We have to monitor it. We have to monitor it so we can stay afloat. So where are you currently measuring? Where are you currently measuring? Now, we was talking about where do you measure. Now I want you to stop and think. How do you measure success? How do you measure success? How do you measure success? Because some people, they measure success in different ways. We have some people who we run our lives as if it's a business. We run our lives as it's a business. We have those KPI, those key performance indicators. So we look at those key performance indicators, and if we can check off all of those lists, those boxes, okay, we're good to go. We are good to go. But then there are others who they gauge their success based off of their emotions. So where do you gauge your success? And where are you right now on your success? So some people, they have the quantitative measures where they identify different data, revenue, like the money coming in. So if I make all the money I want, I am successful. But people can have a lot of money and still not be successful. They're still not happy. So you have to have a balance. You have to have a balance. Some people say they're successful if they have a peace of mind. If they have a peace of mind, they have a good work-life balance, personal happiness, their health is good. So you have to stop and think, how do you actually gauge your success? And then what is success to you? Is success you having all the money in the world? Is success just you being happy? Is success knowing that you are leaving a legacy for your family, you're a mentor to others, you're helping others? So when people come back and they talk about you, guess what? They have all good things to say. Is that how you measure your success? Are you measuring your success based off of your past life and now? So you're comparing your life, your life, your life. Catch that. You're comparing your life. Say it with me. Compare your life. You're comparing your life from what it was back then in 1980 to what it is to 2000 to now what it is now in 2026. And you're looking and saying, oh, back then it was like, and now it's like, is that how you're comparing your life? So I want you to start thinking about that. How do you gauge your success? What does success mean to you? Some people, success can just be having a family. Everybody's healthy. You're feeling good. They're feeling good. You're living life. Everybody's success is different. So once again, this is why I was like, you're comparing your life, because you can't compare your life to other people and say, oh, they're more successful than me, because you don't know what they categorize as success. They could have categorized success as having a mansion on the top of the hill and a bunch of money. But yet they're in that mansion. They have that money. They're lonely. They don't have any friends. Their health is deteriorating, but they're saying they're successful. Why? Because they got that mansion and that money. And yet you down here, you got the regular house, the picket fence, but you have the friends, you have the family, you have all the love that you need. That might be your area of success. So once again, just want you to stop and think, what is success to you? How do you gauge your success? All right, we have some viewers. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Brianna. We have some viewers on who are telling us how they gauge their success. Some say, I measure success by my peace of mind and the commitment in what I do. So yes, that is one way. Everybody's way of gauging success is different. We have being aligned with the will of God is my success. Yes. Oh, so now somebody changed. When I was in college, it was being married, a couple of kids, a job with benefits, and taking one vacation a year. Things changed when I realized that wasn't happening. Good morning. Yes, your success can change. Your idea of what success is to you can change. Because some people could say, yeah, I wanted to be married. I wanted to have the kids. Guess what? Now they got that. So now what? So now they got to upgrade. Okay, so now what is success looking like to me? I got the family, I got the kids. Now what? Or like it was said, I thought I was going to have this, but I don't. So now what is my success looking like to me? My success might be looking like being a world traveler. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to be out here traveling the world. I'm going to go and do those things that I thought never possible. At one point, I didn't think, oh, I'm not going to be able to go out here and go to these foreign lands and visit and see things. But now, guess what? That's what you're doing. That might be your way of saying your success. You have a peace of mind. You're happy. You have the money to be able to go and do what it is that you want to do, and you feeling fulfilled. So, yeah, success can change. Success can change. So now I want you today to understand the gauge concept, understanding. So we're going to define and ground the idea of the gauging concept. Your personal gauge includes mindset. We always talk about that. Your standards, habits, boundaries, belief, self-talk. Mindset. Are you in the mindset of that growth mindset? Meaning that I may not have this skill, I may not understand this, but I can learn it. That's the growth mindset. Fixed mindset is, it is the way it is. It is not going to change. That's the fixed mindset. So now, where are you gauging yourself as far as your mindset? Do you have a fixed mindset? It is what it is. It's not going to change. Or do you have a growth mindset? I can grow. I can learn from these things. It does not have to stay where it is. I can grow. I can obtain new knowledge. I can change the way my life is headed. Standards. What are your standards? Do you have high expectations? Do you have low expectations? Do you don't have any expectations at all? What are your standards? And within these standards, therefore, you're going to say basically, what is it that you're accepting or what is it that you're expecting out of your life? Because if you're expecting just the basic mundane, then that's low expectations. High expectations mean I'm going to go out here and get what I want. That's standards. Habits. What are your habits? Are you consistent with your habits? Or do you always set a new goal and then you break it? Do you allow the 30 days? Because they say it takes 30 days to form a habit. That's what they say. So do you allow that 30-day process to form your habit? Or after the 5th day, you like, this not working, and you just jump ship? So that's part of gauging. Boundaries. Boundaries. What boundaries have you set and what boundaries have you kept? Because you can set a lot of boundaries, but did you keep them is the question. Beliefs. What are your beliefs? What are your goals? What are your values? And then self-talk. Self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? Are you that type of person who encourages yourself? You motivate yourself? And as soon as I'm talking about this, I think about this meme that I see about this person sitting in the car and they got to get up and go to work and they don't want to go to work. So the little This is like a little stick figure. I'm quite sure some of y'all have seen it. And the little stick figure's in the car, and he's trying to motivate himself to get up and go to work. So in the car's like, go get it, go get it. I gotta get the money, go get it, go get it, go get it. So what are you doing? Are you that person who motivates yourself? Or are you that person who is just like, "Yeah, this is not going to work out anyway. I'm gonna have a bad day. We're just going to go through it and just deal with it." So what kind of self-talk are you doing? Positive self-talk, negative self-talk? Are you reframing the narrative? So when that negative thoughts come, are you reframing it to a positive? Are you letting those negative thoughts play in your head? Are you letting the story play out and you're trying to figure out which route you're going to go? You're going to go A, B, or C, because A can go this way. I see B going this way and C going this way. Okay, which one I'm going to do? So that is the self-talk. Now, I want you to stop and think. The personal gauge, mindset, standards, habits, boundaries, beliefs, self-talk. Whatever you tolerate becomes your normal. I want you to think about that. Whatever you tolerate becomes your normal. So I want you to stop and think, have you ever said to yourself, I'm never going to do that? Ooh, like what? Oh my goodness, no. Or I'm never going to allow somebody to say that to me. I'm never going to allow somebody to do that to me. They crazy. But now, everything that you said you weren't going to do, or you weren't going to allow somebody to do or say to you, you're allowing. I want you to stop and think about that. Whatever you tolerate becomes your normal. That falls into the lines of boundaries. At one point, you set this boundary. And it was like a do not cross this boundary. This line, this is where I accept and this is where I don't accept. But now you're accepting any old thing. Whatever you tolerate becomes your normal. So I want you to stop and think, what are some things that you started to tolerate that you don't like? And now they're your normal. And then I want you to stop and think, what are some things that you tolerate that you didn't think you were going to like, but you like? And now they're your normal. So it's a positive and a negative to this. It's a positive and a negative to this. So whatever you tolerate becomes your normal. So what I want you to think about is the things that you are tolerating. Do they fall in line with your gauge? And hopefully your gauge is the growth mindset. Hopefully your gauge is high standards. Or we can say middle range standards. Hopefully your gauge is setting healthy habits. Hopefully your gauge is accepting your boundaries, understanding your boundaries, and not crossing your boundaries or allowing people to negate your boundaries. Hopefully your gauge is having high beliefs, you're understanding what your morals are and your values, and you're not going to allow people to walk over them. You're not going to give in to other people's demands because you want friends, and then you're kicking out your values and your beliefs. And hopefully your gauge for self-talk is positive self-talk. So whatever you tolerate becomes your normal. And then this one, whatever you monitor becomes your growth point. Whatever you monitor becomes your growth point. What does that mean? Whatever I monitor becomes my growth point. What does that mean? What are you looking at as far as your success? How are you monitoring your success? So once again, if you are monitoring your success and you're comparing other people instead of comparing yourself, that is now your growth point. So that is all you're going to be focused on. Well, they're living like this. Well, they're doing this and I'm doing this. That is how you're going to gauge your success. That is what you're monitoring. So if you are monitoring based off of personal happiness, that's going to be your growth point, because you're going to stop and say, am I happy right now? And then you're going to say, what can I do to make me a little bit more happy? And then you're going to try to obtain those things. So that is what you are monitoring. You're monitoring your happiness. If you're monitoring, I can't even get it out right, monitoring your health, then you're going to start looking at your health. What can you do to be healthy? What can you do to increase your health? So I want you to think about that work-life balance. But that means you have to set your eyes on those things that are positive. When you're monitoring, set your eyes on things that are positive, things that are going to bring out the best in you, and not set your eyes on things that are going to basically tear you down. Because if you're comparing yourself to others, it's going to tear you down. So whatever you monitor becomes your growth point. So that means you need to identify, what is your growth point? What is your growth point, and what are you monitoring? So now an example, low gauge, having a low gauge, settling, excuses, inconsistency. If this is you, you have a low gauge. High gauge, discipline, clarity, intentional action. And somebody just said, okay, what's the middle gauge? They're like, I might not be at the low gauge, but I'm not at the high gauge either. What's the middle gauge? Middle gauge is seeking understanding, seeking empowerment, seeking growth. That middle gauge is where you are seeking. You may not have it all, but you're seeking. You want to gain that understanding. You want to gain that clarity. You want to know what can you do to become better. And then you're going to start working on it little by little. That is the middle ground. And a lot of us, that's where we are. We're right there at that middle ground. We're not at that low gauge because we're not settling. We're not having all of the excuses, and we're not inconsistent. And then we might not be at that high gauge where we're disciplined on everything. We have that full clarity and understanding, and we're setting intentional actions. But some of us are there. And then that middle gauge is where we're seeking. We're trying to gain that understanding because we know we want to do better. We know we want to do better, but now we're just trying to figure out, what can I do to get there? We're trying to figure out the what, why, and how. What can I do? How is it going to look getting there? Why am I doing this? Or why do I want to do this? That's that middle. And you're going to start working it out, and you're going to start figuring it out, and you're going to start researching and finding those answers that you need. So that is understanding the gauge concept. Now we have misaligned gauges that block success. Misaligned gauges that block success. These are common errors. These are common errors that we do in our life, the common areas. First one is measuring success by comparison. I already stated that. I'm not even going to go into detail. You understand it. Next one is measuring success by approval. What does this mean? This means that you need everybody else's approval. You need that green light from everybody else before you go and do what it is that you want to do. So you have set it up. You have said, okay, I figured out that I want to do this, but let me get his thought on this. Let me get her thought on this. But this is the thing. This is your life. You are trying to gain personal growth for yourself. So it's what you want to do. So you have to give yourself the green light to succeed. Give yourself the green light to grow. So that is one of the errors. We measure our success by the approval of others. Next one, measure success by comfort. Meaning we get into a comfortable spot or position and we think this is it. We think this is it. We don't think, oh, I can get more. I can be better. It's like, oh, this is good right here. I'm feeling good right here. Let's just stay right here. And just that feeling good right here is just the tip of the iceberg. Because just imagine if you're feeling good right here, you can feel even better if you continue to grow. But you get stuck in that zone of being comfortable. That is another error. And then we have the error of speed instead of sustainability. Speed instead of sustainability. Meaning, if it comes to me quick, it's good. If it comes to me quick, it's good, but not looking to see if it gives you that lasting effect that you want. So I want, for example, I'm gonna think about something. Okay, I thought about something. Share, I'm sharing. Okay. So I just thought about the people who they want to feel happy. They want to feel happy. So in a way for them to feel happy or to be carefree at that moment, they smoke a joint. And at that moment, guess what? Yes, they get their buzz and they're feeling good. Like nothing matters to them. But then once their high wears off, then what? Back to life, back to reality. Yep. Everything's come back. Everything comes back. So you got that speed, you got that instant result that you wanted, but it didn't give you that lasting effect that you needed. So that is the error that other people do. They think because they can get it quickly, it's good, but it doesn't give them the effect that they want, because the effect that you want is that you want to be happy. You don't want to have the weight of the world on your shoulders. But getting that quick fix is not going to help you maintain that. You got to figure out, you got to dig deeper. Why are you not happy? What is it that you can change in your life that's going to make you happy? You have that heavy weight on your shoulder. Okay, so what is there? What is the cause of that heavy weight? You have to dig deeper and get a better understanding of what is going on, so that way you can fix it. And guess what? Then you'll have that lasting effect that you want. So once again, some of the common errors: success by comparison, success by approval, success by comfort, success by speed instead of sustainability. Just because something looks successful doesn't mean it's aligned to you. Just because something looks successful doesn't mean it is aligned to you, what your calling is, what your purpose is. So I need you to remember that. I want you to remember that. Say that, clock it. Yes. Okay. So what gauge do you think most people rely on? What gauge do you think most people rely on? Comfort, comparison, or consistency? And you can even ask yourself this question: what do you rely on? Do you rely on comfort? Do you rely on comparison, or do you rely on consistency? Because right now I'm relying on consistency. I want to know, what are the things that are consistent in my life? What are those things that are consistent? Who are those people that are consistent? That's what I am relying on. Because I can be comfortable for a moment. The next thing you know, I'm all antsy, like, oh, this is not it. I gotta move. I gotta move. And me, I'm like, I don't like to be, I gotta move every 5 minutes, because now it was comfortable, but now we're not. Because that means I got into something that I wasn't supposed to get in. And it was comfortable for that moment. It was one of those speed things. It was a quick decision. It felt good that moment, but now it's like, oh, it's not fitting for me anymore. Comparison. No, I'm not comparing myself to others, because I learned that early on. I don't know what the other person went through to got for them to be able to obtain what it is that they had. And then some people, I realized what they went through to obtain what they had. I'm like, oh, I ain't going through that. I'm going to learn from your mistakes. I'm not going to repeat them. I'm going to learn from your mistakes. So I'm not in the comparison stage. I'm not in the comparison stage, but we have somebody who said definitely comfort and familiarity. Comfort and familiarity. Okay, so now let's talk about setting the right gauge for success. Setting the right gauge for success. Okay, so for this section, we're going to be talking about providing actionable recalibration. We're about to recalibrate some things. We're about to align some things. Okay, mindset gauge, your mindset gauge. I want you to ask yourself, am I thinking growth or limitations? Am I thinking growth or limitations? And when you do this for your mindset, if you have experienced past traumas, hurt, rejection, abuse, whatever, if you have experienced those things it is going to cause you to think of the limitations. Why? Because somebody has spoken into your life. Somebody has done something where they have broken down your self-esteem, where they have caused you not to feel confident, where they have caused you to doubt yourself. So in order for you to get to the mindset that you want to obtain, you have to break down those barriers. You have to tear down those walls. You have to realize that those things that happen, yes, they happen, but those things do not define who you are. You have to get to that point where you can have that growth mindset and you can stay there, because sometimes we're working on our growth mindset where I'm thinking growth. I want growth. I'm moving in the right direction. But then something that from your past comes back and it starts making you think, wait a minute, I can't accomplish this. Like, what was I thinking? I'm not created for this. I wasn't made for this. But why is that coming? That is coming because of the negativity that was in your past. But we talked about this probably January and December. We're leaving those old things behind us. We're leaving those old things behind us. We're going to forgive who we have to forgive. We're going to forgive ourselves in order for us to grow, in order for us to mature, and in order for us to experience the more. So those old things we're leaving behind. Yes, they happened. We're going to reflect on them. We're going to think about how can we learn from those experiences. And then we're going to also identify the triggers. So we know when something is about to happen, we already know, oh, wait a minute. I feel my spidey senses tingling. Something is about to happen and we're not going to allow it to happen. You already have your strategy in place. So that way you have your way of not escaping, but moving out of it, because we have already conquered that territory that happened in the past. We've conquered it. Now we're overcoming. We're walking in our victory. So we're not going to allow those things from the past to limit us in our future. So I need you to remember that. We're not going to allow the things in our past to limit us in our future. So for our mindset gauge, you're asking yourself, am I thinking growth or limitations? For the discipline gauge, am I consistent or convenient? Am I consistent or convenient? Consistent means you constantly showing up. You're constantly showing up for yourself. This is not constantly showing up for others. This is, I am constantly showing up for myself. And when I show up for myself, this is meaning growth. I'm showing up for myself. I'm gaining understanding, I'm gaining clarity. I am helping those things align in the correct pathway so that I can reach the success that I wanted or the purpose for my life. I'm walking in it. You're showing up for yourself. Or is it convenient? So it just fits you right now, so you're going to accept it. I want you to think about that for the discipline gauge. Then you have the accountability gauge. Do I take responsibility or deflect? Do I take responsibility or deflect? Meaning, do you accept or acknowledge when you're wrong? Do you say, I was wrong, I'm sorry, this is how we're going to make it work? Do you take responsibility for your actions as far as emotional regulation? Something just made you upset and you ready to lash out. Did you stop? Did you pause? Did you think about the proper response before you responded? That's taking responsibility. Or did you just say, at this moment, I'm feeling good, I want to get back at them. Guess what? I'm going to take the easy route, convenient, and I'm going to let them have it. Which one did you do? Accountability gauge. Do I take responsibility or do I deflect? So this is what I want you to think about, because we are recalibrating our gauge. We're recalibrating our gauge, because just like the gas tank, is it full, half full, is it empty? We are recalibrating, calibrating. So once again, mindset gauge, ask yourself, am I thinking growth or limitation? Discipline gauge, ask yourself, am I consistent or convenient. And then accountability gauge. Ask yourself, do I take responsibility or deflect? Deflect, that means it's coming my way. Nope, you can't get, nope. That's what deflecting is. What are you doing? What are you doing? Instead of taking responsibility, you try and block it. You're avoiding it. You're throwing the blame on other people. What are you doing? Which one is it? I want you to think about that, because right now you are setting your gauge. You are recalibrating. Then we have the faith gauge. Am I trusting God or controlling outcomes? Am I trusting God or controlling outcomes? Do I need to break this down? Because we know when we're trusting God for something, we have to wait, and we have to wait patiently. And sometimes that waiting feels like forever, but that's the catch. You got to trust God. Sometimes that waiting feels like forever, but we have to remember that inside of the wait, you are doing what? You are learning, you are growing, you are getting all of the information you need to prepare yourself for that desired outcome that you prayed for. So in the wait, it's just not downtime. No, there's growth in the wait. There's preparation in the wait. There's understanding in the wait, clarity in the wait. So am I trusting God or controlling the outcome? Controlling the outcome means, guess what? It's not happening fast enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And most of the time when we do that, what happens? We cause confusion. We cause a greater delay. Or it just doesn't happen at all for us. So faith gauge, ask yourself, am I trusting God or controlling the outcome? Take your hands out of it. And then I need you to understand this, because this is something that I had to gain more clarity on. When you're trusting God, I just said take your hands out of it. Some people look like, what? When you're trusting God, you are working while you're waiting. So you are working. So say, okay, you ask for something. You put it before God. You're not just sitting there going, okay, I took my hands out of it, it's done. No, you're still working. You're preparing the ground. You're preparing the foundation for what it is that you asked for. So that means you're still putting in that work. You're not controlling the situation, but you're putting in that work. So I'm gonna say birth. I'm gonna give the example of giving birth. Men, I'm sorry. And that's the first thing that came to mind. So men, I'm sorry. For the men who are looking and listening, I'm sorry. But for birth, but you can take part in this as well, because it takes two. So for birth, you now know you are carrying, but you still have to wait 9-10 months for the baby. So in the time that you're waiting, what are you doing? How are you preparing? Because it's not just, oh, I'm just going to sit here and it's going to pop out. Yeah, it will, but you still need to prepare. In order to have a healthy baby and in order to have everything ready, you have to prepare. So what are you doing? You're getting your checkups. You're making sure you're staying healthy. You're making sure you're putting the right vitamins and nutrients into your body. You're making sure that you have the clothes, all the necessities for the baby. You're making sure that you have the appropriate space for the baby. You're making sure that your mindset is right for the baby, the new life that you're bringing into this world. The mindset has to be right. You have to now, especially if you're one of those people who is always I, me. Guess what? It's somebody else now. So now you got to learn to start sharing. You got to learn and understand that it's not about you anymore. Because now there's somebody else in this picture besides you. That can go for people who are about to get married too. If you're the me, my, how is that going to work? You're in a relationship. How is that going to work when it's all about you? No. There's more than just you now. There are other people involved. So you got to be considerate of the other individuals. This is all in that waiting stage. Your mindset has to change. You have to understand some things. The way that you think has to now shift. This is in that waiting, trusting phase. So it's not just that I'm sitting here, I'm doing nothing. But you also need to make sure that you're not controlling the situation. So for example, if you're one of those controlling individuals, instead of 9 months, guess what? This is going to happen. I'm going to pop this thing out in 5. I'm going to do my squats and everything 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. Okay. God looking at you like, that's not how it works. You don't want that. You don't want that. Disaster is going to come if that happens. So I need you to understand that for the faith gauge. And then we have the integrity gauge. Do my actions match my values? Do my actions match my values? So you know your values, your morals, your beliefs. You know all of those things. So now the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you interact with people, the way that you do business, does it match your values? You have to stop and think about that. Or do people see you one way doing something and then in another avenue or another venue, they see you acting a separate way? So you have to stop and think, do my actions match my values? If you say, I'm a person of my word, but then you turn around and you're lying, does it match? If you say you're a child of God and you're professing salvation, but you run around here doing everything, does it match? If you say you're of a sound mind, but then you're talking all kinds of craziness, does it match? So do my actions match my values? So once again, for recalibrating your gauges, mindset, you ask yourself, am I thinking growth or limitations? Discipline gauge, am I consistent or convenient? Accountability gauge, do I take responsibility or deflect? Faith gauge, am I trusting God or controlling outcomes? And then integrity gauge, do my actions match my value? Now I want you to remember, success begins with alignment replaces excuses. Alignment replaces excuses. So I need you to think about that. What kind of excuses are you making? What kind of excuses are you making? And if you're making those excuses, how can you align yourself so that the alignment replaces those excuses? Now, monitoring your gauge daily. This morning when I was up and I started on this section, I was like, oh my goodness, it'll be perfect if we had a daily journal where we can monitor our gauge. And I'm going to make one. I'm going to make one. So y'all stay tuned for that. I'm going to make one. So in this is teaching sustainability. Daily check-in questions. These are the questions that you can be doing. So basically, at the end of the day, it's like you're having a debrief session with yourself. So at the end of the day, once everything has wound down, you done cleaned up the house, now you're sitting in the bed, you're sitting in the living room, you're sitting wherever, and you're just having a woosah moment. Now is that time for you to debrief with yourself, monitoring your daily gauge. And you can ask yourself these questions. First question, did my choices today move me forward or keep me comfortable? So then that means you have to stop and think about the things that you did today. Did you do things that were going to move you forward? Did you do things that were going to keep you comfortable? Or did you do something that's going to make you have to start all over? Next question. What did I tolerate today that I shouldn't tomorrow? Because remember, tomorrow is a new day. And this is one thing I had to learn when I was teaching. Do not carry what happened the day before into your next. And when I say that for teaching, it was with the kids and their attitudes and their behaviors and their choices that they decide to make. I cannot carry that into my next. So yes, that child acted a fool the day before. That child flipped the desk the day before. But guess what? When I see them the next day, hey, baby, how you doing today? You good? You good today? All right, we're going to have a great day, right? All right. Give me a high five. Give me a hug. That's how you have to start your day, even knowing yesterday, was just pure craziness the day before. But now it's a new day. You have to start fresh. All of that foolishness has to be pushed to the side. So what did I tolerate today that I shouldn't tomorrow? So stop and think about it while you're debriefing, having your woosah moment. Think about those things you tolerated and be like, yeah, I allowed that yesterday. I allowed it today. But tomorrow, things will change. There'll be plans put in place. It will not be the same old. Next one. What small adjustments do I need to make? What small adjustments do I need to make? So now this one, you're diving deep, reflecting on yourself. Like, does my attitude need to change? Do I need to smile more? Do I have to say positive words to myself and others? You got this. You can do this. It's all right. It was just a mistake. We'll be better tomorrow. What small adjustments do I need to make? It could be something as simple as, I didn't cook today. I need to cook tomorrow, so that way I can save some money and not go out and be spending my money every day. I need to say I love you more to somebody. Husband, spouse, children, family, friends, and parents. But that's on you. I want you to think about that. What small adjustments do I need to make today? Now, why do you need to do these things? It's a daily reflection. It's a weekly reset, and it's a daily reset. Because a lot of times we'll go throughout the week and not stop and think, like, what can we change? We're just doing the same thing every day, and it's hitting us every day. And we're like, what the world? But we don't stop and think, okay, how can I change this? So it's giving you that reset that you need. And then it's an honest self-assessment of yourself, an honest self-assessment of your day, your routines, your habits, your patterns. It's an honest assessment. And sometimes we need that. We need to be able to see, like, oh, wait a minute. This happened every day. Oh, I do this every day. Why do I do this every day? Like, what's the cause behind? Why do I do this? I need to stop doing that. Like, really? Oh, wow. So you get those aha moments. You get those moments where it's like, I need to fix some things for myself. And then when you have those moments and you realize it, you can digest it better. Because if somebody else comes to you and they be like, I noticed that you do this, this, and this, and this. And you be like, yeah, and. But when you realize it for yourself, it's just like, oh, wait a minute. Like, let me fix this. Because sometimes we can't take critique or criticism from others. But once we see it and we're aware of it, we'll be like, okay, I can fix it. And then when you go back and tell that person, be like, you know what, I realized this, and they be like, I told you that last week. And you be like, really? Well, I ain't hear it. No, you didn't hear it. Because that's just how we are. Sometimes we just don't hear what it is that we don't want to hear at that moment, even though it's been said to us 1,000 times. But once you become fully aware of it and you see it, then it's like, oh, let me do something about that. So this way, if you're monitoring your gauge, you're able to identify those things that you need to fix within yourself. And you're able to see those things that you like and dislike about yourself, those things that make you proud, that make you smile when a beam and shout it to the rooftop, like, I did that. Yes. So we need to daily monitor our gauge. And then we need to remember also, small adjustments prevent major breakdowns. Small adjustments prevent major breakdowns. And this just goes, I said it and now I'm thinking about the cars. You know how we're supposed to take our car in to get the oil change. And then every, 3,000 miles of time, supposed to go take it in to get this. And they're supposed to take it in to get this. If we do those small adjustments, it will help our car to run longer without having a major breakdown. But then the thing is, how many of us have the time and the money to get all of those adjustments done that they say we need to get done on our car? So instead, what do? We ride it out. We get the oil change. Because I'm one of them people. I will get the oil change. But then all those other things they say, I'm like, what? The car is running smoothly. I'm good. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why am I putting out that extra time and energy to try to fix it if I don't see it? But the thing is, I don't see it. But there is something that's happening behind the scenes. I don't see it. And then eventually the car like, and it's broke. And it's like, oh my goodness. But if I was taking the time to daily evaluate, weekly evaluate, monthly evaluate, and reflect on myself, guess what? I would have been able to see those things and I would have been able to fix those things. But since I'm like, I don't see it, I don't need to do this. So I want to help somebody else out today. Make sure that you are evaluating yourself, reflecting on yourself, identifying these things before it gets out of hand and it gives you a spiraling effect. Okay, so now we are almost winding down. Faith, patience, and the success gauge. Faith, patience, and the success gauge. Anchor success spiritually. Anchoring success spiritually. Here we go. God's definition of success includes obedience, growth, and timing. Obedience, growth, and timing. So I want you to think about that. Are you being obedient? In the process of you being obedient, are you getting the growth that you need? Are you seeking that understanding that you need? And are you realizing that God's timing is not your timing? So you can't rush everything. You can't expect things to happen when you want it to happen, because when you expect that, you get disappointed, you get frustrated. So you have to patiently wait, as we stated, patiently wait. And the waiting season requires endurance. Waiting season requires endurance. What does that mean? You are persevering. Even though you don't see it happening, you don't feel nothing moving, you are persevering. You are continuing to put in the work. You're continuing to push. Do not become disengaged. Stay engaged, stay active, stay focused, continue to persevere. Faith helps you to stay steady when progress feels slow. Because in that faith, you're doing that, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. It was some cartoon character, I don't know. But yes, that's what you're doing. So you're holding on to that faith. You're saying, I believe this is going to happen. I believe this is going to happen. You're going to continue to put in that work. You're going to continue to persevere. You're going to continue to seek the word of God. You're going to continue to grow in that area while you are waiting. And then when it comes, guess what? You are fully prepared to receive that abundance. So now, one of the scriptures I want to throw out there, though it tarries, wait for it. It's in Habakkuk 2:2, verse 3. Though it tarries, wait for it. What does that mean? Yeah, it's going to take a while. It's taking a while, but you need to what? Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, I want you to stop and think. Where might God be asking you to adjust your gauge, not your goal? Adjust your gauge, not your goal. Meaning your goal is fine. That goal that you set is fine, but your gauge is what's messing you up. Your gauge is what's messing you up. And then I'm going to go back to what is the gauge? Your mindset is what's messing you up. Your standards is what's messing you up. Your habits, messing you up. Boundaries, messing you up. Beliefs, messing you up. Self-talk, messing you up. So remember, that was our personal gauge. Mindset, standards, habits, boundaries, beliefs, self-talk. So now the question was asked, where might God be asking you to adjust your gauge? One of those things we just said, not your goal. So your goal is fine, but all of those other things you need to adjust because somewhere in there, something is messing you up. I want you to think about that. And now, recalibrating and moving forward. Recalibrating and moving forward. Now, I hope that you all receive something from this that is going to help you to recalibrate your gauge, to identify where you are and where you need to be. So now we have our closing declaration. I choose intention over impulse, discipline over excuses, faith over fear. I am setting my gauge for growth, consistency, and purpose. I'm going to say it again. I choose intention over impulse, discipline over excuses, faith over fear. I am setting my gauge for growth, consistency, and purpose. Y'all got that? Okay. So success isn't a pressure. It's about precision. Set your gauge and let your life follow. set your gauge and let your life follow. So that means, what does that mean? You can't be following things that you don't have already set and planned in action. So set your gauge, set your gauge, set your mindset, set the standards, set the habits, put them in place, create the boundaries, identify the beliefs, create the self-talk, do the self-talk. Put all of those things into action and then allow your life to follow. That is what I want for you today. So now I thank you all for tuning in today to Empowering Others to Excel. Thank you to my WMEG listeners, those who are following on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you have been uplifted, motivated, encouraged, on today. I was about to say motivated again. But yeah, we can do a double dose of the motivation. I hope you have received something on today. If you would like to partner with Empowering Others to Excel so that we continue to provide this service to you all, you can do so through the Cash App, which is $EOE Change Agent. $EOE Change Agent. We appreciate all those who have contributed in the past and those who are contributing in the future. Also, if you would like to inquire about life coaching services or you just have a random question, you can always email me at jacquelineJobes@EOEchangeagent.com. You can always visit the website www.eoechangeagent.com to find out about all the other great resources that I do have available. So yeah, once again, I do thank you for tuning in. And I hope that I will have you all here next week at 9 o'clock. Next week at 9 o'clock. And remember, always, if you want to, go back and check out YouTube, visit some of the other videos, other sessions, and I want you to continue to grow. I want you to continue to prosper and receive the abundance, receive the more. So until next time, I want you all to be blessed and enjoy your day.